Hi, I'm Zaxxon. Welcome to Vaporwave, home of the Vaporwave. Would you like to try a Vaporwave? I want to talk about Vaporwave. I think it's a psyop. I think it's programming. They got me. I like it. It's a state of mind. It has to do with pharmacological, pharmaceutical company drug posters. They figured out in the 90s, and maybe before then, but in the 90s, drug advertising posters always had these same almost neon pastel colors that have since become perfected and are all over the place. When you watch Thor Ragnarok, when you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when you watch the promos, the really cool promos for Suicide Squad, when you look at the LED neon dayglow podcasts all over YouTube, you know that it's all similar to Vaporwave, because is where I'm going with all this. And it does something to our minds. In the 90s, it started out in the drug posters, and then it became refined, and now all TV just says, here's a drug commercial. It used to also be in a drug commercial too. It's warm and fuzzy. It's the warm and fuzzy oxycodone, whatever you call it, warm and fuzziness that comes over you instantly, and the pastel colors do that. There's Rudolf Steiner, Luciferian Rudolf Steiner, founder of the Waldorf schools, who like gnomes, a weirdo. He knew something about color, and color and the effects it has is known in advertising and marketing, maybe more so in advertising and design, that kind of thing, because McDonald's were designed in the past originally to get you in and out real quick. So color has a lot of play in the world we live in. But when you look at Vaporwave, there's something that's always the same. It's washed out, saturated tones, sort of like a faded, washed out neon dayglow. Whatever kind of wave those nostalgia videos are, like Nostalgia 1, Nostalgia 2, 3, 4, whatever, and it's all Simpsons. And they take some kind of sound clip from a soundtrack of an old 60s, 70s thing, and they stretch it out as Vaporwave, and they put the Simpsons clip on top of it. What do they do to the Simpsons clip? They don't just leave it be a bright, vibrant Simpsons clip. They wash it out and mute it down. I guess so you would say so legally they can get away with it. But you remember that Windows 97 thing? I mean, I didn't find out about it right away. But when they started making all this Vaporwave stuff, which again was like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. When they started, all stuff started coming around, and you started seeing, like, what's that cool, neat music you hear in the background? Again, I'm going to trace the history of it back and see if I can retain all this and spit it out to you. Vice Magazine and Juxtapoz Magazine and Adult Swim. It's these places, again, all bad news, that started coming out with these like jams, like this, like an evolution of 90s trip hop and electronica stuff, where it became easier, where you didn't have to mix everything together on tracks with tapes. You could do it all. It became super easy like it is now. So you can see the evolution from the 90s, from electronica music, and go back further to whenever you want to go to Alan Parsons Project and progressive rock, or whatever the fuck you want to do. Moog synthesizers, whatever. Okay, enough. So I want to bring it back now to Vaporwave. Vaporwave, it's taking music that is made by engineers to put you in feeling states, and then stretching that out to change the feeling states. Like, some Vaporwave sounds creepy and weird, but people want to listen to it. They like this ambient state that they're in, which to me, some Vaporwave stuff, and it's not all called Vaporwave, there's always different names for different waves or whatever, but let's just call it all Vaporwave for this entirety of this episode. They put you in mood states, alright, if you're going to listen to them, because that's what you want them for. I just want to hear something in the background, so listen to it. But the imagery that always comes along with it is becoming more and more popular, and I predicated my channel on it when I put video into it, using those colors, alright, because I knew that that was becoming a thing. I always predict and prognosticate, so I said, I like this, I'm putting it in there, and I even have a history of this going back so far as 2009 or 2010, when I found out in Latvia that there was a bunch of artists over there saying this neon dayglow stuff is going to become really popular in the future, and LEDs and all that stuff is going to be a big thing. And I was like, okay, whatever. Here we are. They knew something about that. I don't know how they knew it, but they knew. So, and again, that was 2009 or 2010, and that's a while ago. It's long enough. So, here we are. We have Spencer's Gift, which again, when you go into Spencer's Gift, is Spencer's Gift not like Jeff Goldblum Planet and Thor Ragnarok with all the lights and stuff like that? The bar atmosphere, the environment, the neon lights of Blade Runner, of Neo Tokyo in Akira, the cartoon anime movie. All these dystopian sci-fis that have the cool neon day glow stuff. It's becoming more and more present because LED lighting, which is a different spectrum of lighting, which is harmful to man and prolonged exposure to it. Boy, how many episodes did I do under it? Anyway, it's supposed to be bad for you, has a bad effect on man. You're supposed to actually get sunlight. They want to create a world, since LED light's so cheap and free and easy, I prognosticate rather, that they want to create a world where they're just reliant on this, because not only is it sort of like fluoride water, it's like sedating and just keeps you down enough, but it's light, but it's also really cheap and easy, and they can do it all over the place where they want to have people where they're kept, like in cities and stuff. But it also lends itself to Blade Runner and everything. And I know you're like, no, Blade Runner is supposed to be like a holdover from noir and diners and neon lights and that old, neo-noir or whatever. Sure, fine, but we're kind of headed towards that now. Like, look at podcasts. It doesn't matter if your podcast has like a whole bunch of Funko Pops and hot toys and cold cast resin whatevers behind them, or just like stuff like sports teams or death metal posters or whatever nonsense you have behind you. Blue wall LED light just seems to be like such a thing. Even more modern podcasts, like stuff that I follow, like Jay's Analysis. I saw his like as a channel became formed, his sensibility went with that weird vaporwave neo retro 80s bullshit thing. I like it too, but I'm saying like Richard Spencer, he changes his I think it's him, it looks like Jay Dyer's thing. It looks like vaporwave. It's all purple and yellow and blue and neon pink and shit like that. Like, it looks like going to the beach. It looks like one of those old Magnum PI t-shirts where everything's like all like vaporwave. But it's, those colors have effects on our minds, so it puts us in a state that's pleasing and sedating, and we like that. And everybody like Leftist Cuck, I'm dropping names of YouTubers, Leftist Cuck, who had his channel like totally fucked with, he always used vaporwave in the background, like the same damn tracks everybody knows, like everybody uses. Comic Book Girl 19 uses vaporwave. Jay Dyer uses vaporwave, I guess, and some other weird shit. Who else? All these people use it, but I'm telling you, I think it's a program. I think it's bad for us. I like it too. I think it's a psyop. There's certain kinds I don't like. I only like the kind that qualifies as, oh, this is definitely like elevator music stuff. But again, I listen to it too, like while I do other things. I want to use it for podcasts because I think it goes good behind, me talking for an hour or whatever, and a bunch of different things. But I feel like it's horrible. It's like programming. Like, it's all over the place. We stretch out music, we make it for ourselves. But I think there's something I'm not quite hitting on that's revealing about how music works and how it's already, like, let's look at it. Whatever music vaporwave was, it's old records and old music, and young people and old people alike are stretching it out, making their own vaporwave tracks by slowing down music, adding layers, adding beats, adding, multiple things. But it's still all music that was programmed, pops and buzzes and sound. And even when you put it together into something new, it still has the same effect. And all you do is you keep tweaking it yourself until it's favorable to you. If you like it, other people are going to like it. We're basically physiologically the same. We all have the same basic complex of feelings and emotions we're supposed to. So when somebody makes a thing that's appealing and pleasing to them in a vaporwave that they make on their own, it's like people programming themselves, like, oh, we can just all put this shit out there. But I feel like it's like a lot of things, like, who put it out there, who's doing what, and who's doing this and that. I mean, it's obviously some kind of weird thing because it combines the pharmacological, pharmaceutical, I'm trying to put all those PH words together, I'll just drop it. It's the social engineered programmed drug colors. I mean, how far is a drug poster from a Spencer's Blacklight poster, right? I use this reference a lot for a movie nobody saw. Kids in the Hall did a movie in 1997 called Brain Candy. And in this movie, the kids in the hall played all the men and all the women, all the roles, and they invented a happy pill. And when people took the happy pill, they went into a coma, and the happy pill put them into a coma that kept them forever locked in their happiest memory. And the poster for Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy the movie, mimicked a drug poster, and it used those same neon tones. And they said, why did you make your poster look like a drug ad? And they said, because our movie's about making a happy pill that when you take it, you know, like you're happy forever. And I think about Vaporwave and that movie and the internet and drug commercials on TV in the 90s and whatever they look like in the present day. Lunesta. It's all like these dreamy, sleepy, warm, fuzzy. Think about the drugs you know about because maybe you watch TV. But they use those colors because they program us, they social engineer us. I come into my black light poster room, it's warm and inviting. It's a place to hang out. A bar is a place where people go to sit down and hang out. And something that a lot of people are still sort of familiar with is the bar, the club. And maybe it's loud and noisy, but the colors, bring that environment home and then hang out with your buds and have brews and in that lighted atmosphere and do a podcast, right? Or, you know, with your girlfriends, whatever it is, they do that too. But it's all LEDs, even if it has great production value, even if you're like a shill media thing, even if it looks stripped down, everybody's kind of on the same page. I mean, I soak myself in it. I always call myself the pale purple one because it ties into their occultism and their purple colors. But maybe that has something to do with it too, because there's a history of the color purple. You know, the Queen said, only I can have purple, a certain kind of purple, whatever, and nobody else can wear that. And the Mauve Zone, Kenneth Grant wrote the book called The Mauve Zone. In Twin Peaks, season 3, Agent Cooper was sent to the Mauve Zone, and everything was purple there. It's a purple ocean. Thanos is purple. It's the color of royalty. It's the stereotypical color of wizards. Stars, the star robe with the purple, long purple hat. Merlin the magician. What's a wizard look like? He has a long pointy hat like a witch, but it's purple and it's got stars on it, and he's wearing a purple dress like a witch. But he's not a witch, he's a wizard. I know Harry Potter changed that, witches and warlocks and whatnot. But Harry Potter's no good too, but I'm not talking about Harry Potter. I want to talk about Vaporwave music. Everything I said is still related to Vaporwave. Alright, I think it's bad. I'm going to title this, I think, Vaporwave is a PSYOP. Sorry guys. But I think it is. It's like, we're at the point we can self-program now too. Like, we already know that if we don't delete our history, that our searches online or our phone or whatever will send us stuff we like, even in commercials. So, you know, you decide whether you want, it's all tracked anyway, everything you do, you're a file. But there's an indefinite agenda stuff with LED lights, RGB color spectrum, what effect colors have on our brain. Think about it. If colors are red, yellow, and blue, and all color kind of used to come from that with the way that colors were processed in the color mixing chart and all that shit. Well, not necessarily color mixing chart, that's something else. But we go from red, yellow, and blue to RGB, which is red, yellow, green, which is blue and yellow together to get RGB. But that's new. Is that change? Does somebody already have the video that I can't find that says what effect the change in color spectrum for all lighted stuff has on our brains when we watch it? Does it make us more effectively programmed? Maybe. But I do know that my show's like not predicated upon it, but sort of. Maybe I could have used a better word there. But my show holds a lot of investment in this LED purple colors, and I used to always have like the other ones in the background. Alright, like it's like a strip club. It's like Howard Stern. Remember Howard Stern? Howard Stern creates like a lounge atmosphere where it's dark, and even in there he wears sunglasses and shit, and he sits in a booth isolated from everybody else, and he makes it a comfortable environment like you're in a strip club, like you're gonna get a lap dance, but he uses all that lighting. He creates that atmosphere. It's a hang. They want people to hang out online, but it's also everything else that I said. It's what they know about, what the pharmaceutical companies know about advertising drugs to people and drug effects that effects drugs have on people, because people like to stone out, chill out, vape out, and vaporwave and live stream and all these things, right? People are really liking to take old 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever bit graphic images and mute the colors and wash them out and make it even more warm and fuzzy than it already is by using the old bitting, way of thinking. It's weird. It's like they're digitizing the way that we think to make us more accustomed to being in an artificial world, like our online oasis, what we already have through all of our social media and stuff. So I feel like vaporwave is the soundtrack for it all. It's like, and not everybody likes it. Some people hate that shit. But I am one of those people that like it. But I gotta be honest about it and call bullshit on it. I'm like, oh, it's probably bad for us. And like, I even want to make, it's easy to do that. It's easy to make. I'm like, I wonder if I could stretch this out. I have weird old albums like Griffin. I have an album by Griffin. I'm trying to remember what the color is. It's something like Change to Black or something like that. I would love to slow that down and vaporwave it and add some duckety-ducketies in there. Or glitter sounds or whatever. But yeah, it feels vaporwave. It's the soundtrack of nostalgia. Do you kind of remember something before your sensibilities were formed, but you were absorbing everything from the world? Vaporwave it. You want to feel like that again? Do vaporwave. I just did an episode where I talked about how scents, like smelling an old perfume or an air freshener in my case from the past, could do a time warp that brings you back to your childhood immediately. I remember that smell. It immediately reminds me of grandma's house or whatever it is. It's a very real thing. But when we listen to and how it's related to vaporwave, vaporwave is nostalgia music. You're taking something that's maybe not even from your time, but it's sort of familiar, and you're distorting it into a sort of, I want to say, narcotic, pharmacological, pharmaceutical drug-like oxycodone effect or whatever, a pot high or something like that, indica high, where you stone out, or you take your dope or whatever, your Xanax, or I don't know what those do. I would never take those things. But whatever your lab-made drugs or your weed or whatever it is, your vape wax or whatever it does to you. Vaporwave, I totally is the soundtrack for the Soma, the Brave New World Soma. Chill out, listen to Soma out. Yeah, you can vaporwave your way through life, man. Like Jeff, the dude, you know what I mean? The Big Lebowski, just like the Big Lebowski, man. Like I bet the Big Lebowski would love vaporwave, right? The Lebowski too, man. He just listens to vaporwave and gets high all the time. And he doesn't care about a rug. He's like, fuck the rug, man. I don't care about it anymore. I got a tiny house now. But anyway, I'm gonna keep it focused on vaporwave and not Jeff Bridges. I remember the name. So anyway, so Jeff Bridges was the Big Lebowski. He's a lot of people like that movie so much because he's a somaed out dude. He's an ineffectual dude, and when he gets upset about something, it's stupid and it doesn't matter and it creates a big mess. That's the joke. Get it? The dude, he doesn't care about anything. He should have just stayed home and shut the fuck up. And instead he gets himself involved in a whole bunch of nonsense over what? A fucking stupid rug. And all his friends are maniacs. And they want you to be avatars for those people. Isn't it cool? Well, I guess people like the Big Lebowski. Let them embody that lifestyle. But we have it. Joe Rogan creates a lifestyle. He tells everybody it's cool to be high all the time. For years, and he lived in California and Colorado and everything, but then we get all that stuff. So you take this Soma and you watch your vaporwave, and it puts you in a state that makes you ineffectual. Ultimately, keep watching whatever, as long as it isn't anything we don't want you to see, unless you want to watch like Unirock or something and you don't like his music and you want to hear your best of Golden Showers Vaporwave Jams or whatever it is, volume 9. Alright? I like MF Doom and Lone and Thundercat. Those guys aren't vaporwave, but it's all that puts you in a state soundtrack music, like Adobe. Maybe he's not around so much anymore, but I remember Adobe had some of that stuff from like Somewhere Over There by Dobie. It just sounds like it's a good one. It's a good track. but it sounds like you're being programmed. It just sounds like an ascending scale. Like, I don't understand enough about music, but I know enough about music that there are different music scales you play, and it makes people feel a different way. And like, here's a Sweeney Todd that dun 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 dun. Oh, something bad's gonna happen in a play, right? That kind of shit. So meat pies, da-na-na-na, meat pies, whatever, that kind of stuff. It's supposed to make it's grim. They're talking about eating people, you know. And Jason the slasher, it's just a sound, but you know, sounds put you in. Oh, I hear that music. Somebody's getting fucked in the movie. I can tell. This sexy in whatever way. Some shit's gonna go down. Ooh, we're gonna go for juxtaposition. It's Rob Zombie's House of 1,000, Waste of 1,000 Minutes or whatever. And he recontextualizes music, taking a Slim Whitman tune, and it has somebody get vivisected by it, by inbred Hills Have Eyes rednecks, right? That's music. But Vaporwave wants to put you in a state that either is ineffectual, is the word I'm going to use to quantify all of it. Different states in Vaporwave. Some Vaporwave is kind of eerie and creepy, like, ugh, this is weird. But either way, it has a sedative effect on you. You stay there for whatever reason. You resonate with that. All right, I want to hear my lo-fi chill jams to study to. I made a playlist of it where I just talk, you know, and there's no lo-fi chill jams. I just use it as a prop. But I know about the lo-fi chill jams. They show up all the time because I'm always looking for stuff that I don't know what it is. Like, now we have music where I don't know what it is, who made it. I know a few people who make cool edits on YouTube, and their channels are filled with like Jay Dilla edits and stuff like that. But that's not even Vaporwave. Jay Dilla, another guy. Beats. Dre's beats. Getting people to make beats. It's the Orgy Porgy music. It's the Soma music. It's Vaporwave. So I'm talking about Vaporwave, but not just. All this music that we're making to program is programming ourselves to put ourselves in states that ultimately, I don't know if you or I really want to be in them, but it's some form of panacea in the form of a cure-all music. We can just modulate it ourselves. Who needs musical artists? We can just share the tones of Brave New World. It's just like degrading us to the level where it's like, no, it doesn't matter. They just put out tones, and then we listen to those tones, and it makes us horny, angry. We'll stop doing something you don't want us to do now, sleepy, ready to work, excited about the Orgy Porgy, excited for the show tonight, the big Coliseum event or whatever it is in Neom, the Smart City, Astana, fill in the blank, whatever they do, Neo New York, Neo Tokyo, Doll Tokyo, whatever they make up, Blade Runner China, Cloud Atlas Future China, I don't know, whatever it is, where people want to blend in, and the last of the Caucasian people take their Caucasian eyes and try and use some kind of weird tape to change them into almond eyes so that they can blend in, so they don't get persecuted for having any kind of white DNA in them yet, because they're natural born or something. I don't know. I'm straying now. I'm going to wrap this up. But Vaporwave, I feel like it's a program, but it's a step in getting us to, in summation of all this, Vaporwave, the colors, the imagery, the using the video game imagery, it's familiar to all of us. Maybe I do have some more to say. I'm not going to go just yet. The imagery they use is a lot of old video game stuff, which I didn't elaborate on that. I want to say more. We grew up with it. It's familiar. It's part of back then. So now anybody that would like that stuff has the sounds that they're familiar with from their childhood distorted into I want to say like a state change, like oh, I'm thinking about like this now. There's different waves, like beta waves, alpha waves. I'm not talking about the gender shit. I'm talking about sound waves. Like there's different waves of music and stuff. So they put us in different states. There's different scales of music, and the graphics are also nostalgic. So we make them even further nostalgic, and also we get away with the legalities of being able to use images that we didn't make. We alter them enough so that it can be a parody of its former image, and it's like, well, it's not its original image, it's now a parody or a caricature, or it's like something else, because we've muted all the tones to make it into vaporwave, neon pink, neon blue, neon yellow, neon orange, neon green, whatever palette you're going to use. It's also known that these have a drug effect. If you go into Spencer's Gifts, which is like a head shop, a corporate head shop, you can buy bongs and all that stuff, but you can also buy Dayglow posters and neon blacklight posters. That's what I meant. And blacklight posters, for as long as there have been Spencer's Gifts in America, it's probably since the 70s, you could get your head posters. And in the 1960s, people would get high and they would look at psychedelic posters. So they even knew in the 60s that those head shop psychedelic posters where people would take LSD and sit in a room with blacklight posters and stare at the posters and go, because of colors. Well, I'm bringing that back around to laser wave, whatever. Laser wave, vapor, that's probably one of them. Vaporwave, one of the styles of vaporwave. So vaporwave and the colors choices that are used for that, the colors in movies, like all the movies I mentioned previously, which are your Marvel hits. It's your big movies, and Suicide Squad, DC, it's another one. And there's more movies that use this color stuff. Trolls, the DreamWorks film Trolls, uses that Dayglow vibrant palette in CG stuff. American Ultra has a segment that's not really a good example. But they're using this Dayglow agenda stuff. But I keep thinking, wow, I really like how the blacklight stuff's coming into fashion now, and LEDs making it less expensive and accommodating. Because before LED, blacklight stuff was too hot and too expensive. And I mean too hot, like it would heat up and burn out quick. And that made blacklights heavy and expensive and not practical. You could get one and it wouldn't light up everything. And it was like an investment, like to have a black light room or whatever. But now it's easy. You don't need black light. You just need LEDs. So now everybody's using LEDs, lights, and Spencer Gifts still exist. And they still sell clunky, needless, cumbersome black lights, but it's stupid. Blue LED, purple LED makes the actual physical black light with the tube or whatever. They're irrelevant now. LED, fuck that. It ruins it. LED ruins it all. So the colors of the head shops and tripping out to blacklight posters in the 60s still exist today in your Spencer's Gifts and other places where they have posters, and it's in the movies, and it's in the pharmaceutical posters, and it's in the drug commercials, and it's in children's Dayglow pastel programming, suspending your child's development by watching preschool programming is also filled with pastel pharmaceutical drug company advertisement colors. I think I got all the words in the right order there that time. It's all these. It's all true. So you see how it's all one thing, and the whole thing's coming together now, where we the adults willfully do it to ourselves. And every summer, coming for a good while now, is going to be the neon Dayglow summer until it catches on more, and everybody says, yeah, let's just have the LED summer light party, and you don't care about the sunlight anymore, and you're living in Blade Runner, which sucks. But guess what? Blade Runner's propaganda that thinks it's cool to live in Blade Runner. We're a little bit unhappy, you're a little bit sullen, you're not quite human anymore, everybody's been fucked with, but guess what? We all just mingle around here if we're lucky enough to be here in Blade Runner 2049, and that's some bullshit. Fuck that. Fuck all those sulky, cool robot people that have cum blood. Or is that confusing that with Aliens? It's all Ridley Scott. It's all the same world. He connected Blade Runner and Aliens, didn't he? I don't know. Who cares? It's social engineering. It's programming. I don't like Ridley Scott. Do you? Why should you like him? He's not a good dude. He hates Jesus. I like him. I love him. I don't like Ridley Scott. Vaporwave's to program you. Didn't need to know that about me in Vaporwave, did you? But anyway, because God and Jesus in the Bible, but seriously, Vaporwave, the colors, it's socially engineered and put out there for you to make you feel nostalgic. Literally, the video's called Nostalgic, and it's got Lisa Simpson or something, and it plays really cool little hypnotic lo-fi chill jam beats for like 40 minutes or something. And then what else do they do with Vaporwave? They take anything old, advertising, music, movies, TV, and they saturate the colors and Vaporwave it out so the video stays up, and they make their own jam. And then I find them, I look for them. Like, I remember years ago, before all the Vaporwave stuff was out, like somebody would make cool videos of Lone, or like people would make their own videos from old clips, and it caught on. But I wonder if it wasn't always an agenda, like MK Ultra Mind Control Clockwork Orange stuff where they just feed images into your eyes, like, because that's what you're getting. They had this in the 90s too with trance music. They would make trance music, so you go to the club or whatever, and it'd have screens or monitors. You stay home and you get the trance DVD, and it just plays images, and it's all like, you know, edited by some guy like Cecil blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, it's a gay guy, because all the images are like it's all stuff from old movies and old like diva women and shit like that, and the movie's going, you know, and it's all techno music and eyeballs and brains and early 3D CG shit all put together. And I'm like, yeah, that's like there was the dance music shit, but it's also like MK Ultra, Clockwork Orange, mind control stuff where they just feed images into your brain. So vaporwave, for the most part, is sedate and slowed down. It's vaporwave. It's Karl Marx. It offers you nothing. Did I mention that in this episode already? I feel like I did, but if I didn't, vaporwave, Karl Marx invented that word. Yeah, and it was like you give them nothing, basically. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Vapor and a wave. It's the wave, it's the sound wave. And what do you give them? You give them music, but with no substance. Vaporwave, what's it about? Nothing. Diana Ross, made up your mind, make your move, slowed down so it sounds like a dude singing it. No, I think it's like we're wasting our life. Like another thing I do on my podcast, I don't know if you notice, is you always hear nature in the background, most of the time. Unless it's like war or the wolves of hell or whatever. But a lot of times I use nature because that's what we're supposed to fucking hear. Right? And it's also the comedy club thing where I do my sit down, stay home comedy, YouTube open mics for you, and nobody shows up, so you hear crickets. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay. But it's all vaporwaved out, baby. It's all these colors and stuff. Can I make it more vaporwavy? In here, can I make it more Jeff Goldblum Planet? Can I make it more Spencer's Gifts? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, it's not really working. But anyway, vaporwave, it's all those things that I said it is. They put them all together. The colors of drugs, the feeling of drugs, this change of state you get when you I just put vaporwave on, cool. It's great driving music. Go on a trip, I've done this. They let it on. I have my little thumb drive thing plugged in. I'm driving around, and I have vaporwave. They let it on. That's how you know. They put music in a supermarket. They have supermarket music. I suspect that some vaporwave music is supermarket music slowed down. I know some of it is. They have slowed down Kmart vaporwave, chill wave, laser wave, chili wave, I think. Basketball American wave. They have all kinds of stuff. Soul wave. They have all these different. I don't know why I said that. I know I have subscribers that have brown skin. Basketball American. I laugh when I hear that racist term because it's so stupid. But anyway, they have all these different kinds of vapor waves, right? To make us feel a certain way. I like Thundercat. What does Thundercat do? Thundercat is a guy who can play, but he takes 70s psychedelia like Basha or Rasha or whatever these guys are from the 70s from records, and he plays those things. Like he had Kenny Loggins on one of his songs with Michael McDonald. He's all going into that 70s stuff where people could play, and he's like, I want to play too. I want to do noodling, but it's the kind of noodling he would like. So he finds all that stuff, and now we all get to know it because Thundercat kind of got in there. Like any guy that gets to plays on the shows is probably one of those guys who's in there already, you know. So why do I mention all this? It's all vaporwave, baby. It's all the same soup of the same stuff. So we have the drug commercials and their colors, and we've had them for a long time. I took it back to the 1990s with the drug posters and the pastel colors and all that, and the children's programming using bright colors at first, Sesame Street and all that, and now using like these neon pastels and stuff. Think about or look at children's daytime programming now, and like an image search, daytime children's programming, Nick Jr., Disney Jr., whatever they call it, and you're going to see a lot of that stuff. all suspension of reality. Those colors exist in nature, but they're highlight colors that we notice them. Oh, there's a really bright pink. There's a really bright, blue or purple or whatever. But in the artificial world, it's the RGB color spectrum, and not whatever light is like when we're getting it from the sun. All right. I don't want to make this too big, but I'll keep it focused on vaporwave and the music. It's programming us, but now we program ourselves, and we make our own cool jams for each other, and then we edit videos over them and stuff like that. And if we don't like what the person said that uses them, we can strike them or get them in trouble or get them depersoned or deplatformed, get them fired from their job because they used your music you made, or I don't know, whatever. That you can't use my 8-bit moon boat on the moon and just change the colors to vaporwave them. I made that for my lolly porn thing. It's the Owl and the Pussycat, and that's like furry porn and underage porn, and it says pussy, and it's owl, so it's Masonic, so it's Owl and the Pussycat on a boat. It has deep meaning, and you can't just use my 8-bit rendering on that, predicated on something that happened in the first Super Mario Brothers game when you got to a level end. You see what I mean? The whole world is so incestuous with global pop culture programming. Video games are programming to program you how to think. So when you're reminiscing about your past and the vaporwave nostalgia comes over you, I like looking at that shit too. There's this one whole screensaver, I used to always use it for a screensaver, and it looked like a Garden of Eden, but it was all done to look like, I don't know, like 16-bit or whatever the bits are of old Sega Genesis, and it was a really neat drawing in that style, and in no other way, because the colors get all weird and saturated and it's kind of pixelated, but it's just a neat image. And I wish I could remember the artist's name, because he did a bunch of works in that style, and I can't remember his name, but anyway, fuck it. But vaporwave, it's a thing, right? It's like, how do you know it's vaporwave? It has all these elements to it. It's stretched out, it has a drug effect, it has the colors, and it has the like hangout vibe to it or whatever, even if it's creepy like Silent Hill Mall vaporwave. All right. The other thing about sounds, they put sounds in supermarkets, they put them in malls. You go places, they have music piped in, but sometimes it's specially for the store. The stores would have their own mixes for stores. I don't know if they still do this, but stores came with like store jams, and the proof of this is the vaporwave mixes they made out of like December Kmart jams. Like the malls would get like different months of the year, different programming music made by whoever, and you could listen to that. And a lot of times it never had words. Movies use it famously, like people are in an elevator and the elevator music comes on. All right, elevator music, they call vaporwave elevator music, waiting room music, because it is. But why is there music there? To put people in different states. It's all social engineering. That's why it's there. Okay? So here we are. We love it now. We line up for it. Me too. I'm a fucking idiot. But, I mean, look at it for what it is. Like, it's nostalgia. It's completely somehow puts us in a state, for all of us that like it, it has something to do with memory of our developing sensibilities as a child or at some stage in development, even if we weren't there for that then. You know what I mean? But it's somehow in the background. It's like soundtrack of our lives stuff, but it's like soundtrack of our lives from the soundtracks of what we did with our lives, which was watching movies and media and TV. So being in a video game world, in a virtual world, people are more accustomed to ambient sound. I mean, I already did videos on this last year of ambient, like look at all these lo-fi chill jams and ambient sounds of every different Star Trek ship from every iteration of Star Trek. They have the different panel sounds for like 10 hours, 24 hours, 8 hours, just an hour, and like all the different sound effects from movies and stuff that are big pop culture, global pop culture phenomenons. They have ambient sound where you can listen to it for hours. And then they have joke ones where it's like 24 hours of Nyan Cat, meow, 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 meow. But we're talking about vaporwave. So vaporwave is the one to make us like the dude, like Big Lebowski, like, you know, watch Adult Swim, eat cereal at midnight, be lethargic, just chill out, talk about conspiracy stuff, but stay home and don't do anything about it, and just keep staying in this purple pharmacological, somaed out, Brave New World, vapor wave, chill wave, whatever wave you like. Chili wave. What's chili wave? It's so spice, just gives you heartburn when you listen to it because it's got too much dubstep in it. The fuzzy things. Music is very powerful. It has the ability to change the world. But now I feel as though, at least in this episode, that vaporwave, which I like, we are using to program ourselves and each other with. And I like all the way that shit looks too. Like I use it, you know, I decided to use it for my channel. But go back and look at, you know, like the last 2 years since like 2016, whatever. And I've been here since 2009, but in 2016 or whatever is when I noticed, like, oh yeah, the color thing is really cool. It's like gonna become a thing. And it was like, and Latvian said it was gonna be a thing. Cool, weird. I don't know if I said this before, I'll say it again to wrap up the episode. I saw this shit as early as 2009, where the Dayglow colors were starting to come in. And and it's here. It's in your Chinese 99-cent everything Dollar Tree, Dollar General stores with the seasons. Comes in neon Dayglow colors. What are the colors? Don't wear white after Labor Day. The fall colors, the spring colors, and summer, if you have one, is neon Dayglow. Coming in the border of Mexico, Brazilian, whatever slum colors. Like let's paint a slum with all the colors, and brighten up what's really going on here, because it does make it better. It has an effect on our minds. Bright colors, we respond to them. Well, vaporwave is a very specific like flag of colors, right? The vaporwave flag has everything I said that it has in it, and it's a neon flag that doesn't wave. They just turn it on at nighttime. When it gets dark, they pull the thing. It's the flag of Vaporwave Nation. It could be whatever flag you want it to be on it, but it just has vaporwave colors. I imagine it looking something like the logo for Planet Hollywood, but it says Planet Vaporwave or something, and it's in neon. It's all there. I can't keep going on about it because I kind of already did. Thanks for being here if you're still here. It's a program, and now we can do it to ourselves really good. And that's in Brave New World. There's a book called Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I always reference it. 1984. As social engineering, I always talk about that too. And they want to get to the point where, in the past, you had to get bad people. You had to get bad people to do stuff to good people, and then make them do that. But now, what they want people to do is they want people to just make themselves into bad people themselves. And listening to vaporwave doesn't make you a bad person, but like they want us to program ourselves and each other with stuff that's destructive, is my point. So I like vaporwave, and I listen to it, not too much, but I feel like it's just as destructive as anything else, because I kind of feel like it was put out there for us by who? Are the creators of it anonymous, or is there like a guy that it came from? And who is he and what does he do? Well, we know he's a computer guy because the thing's called, like, I don't know. There's the whole cool videos of history of vaporwave. I put it in my liked videos, but even in the history of vaporwave that I put in my liked videos, I still gave you some extra sauce. What I said here, as far as I know, isn't in other videos, but think about it. Store music, whatever the store is, puts you in a state of mind. They had it in supermarkets, they had it in malls, they make jokes about it. We know music has an effect on people. We know flashing rapidly images at people does register to them, and they take in all that data. When you're showing somebody a bunch of horrible images really fast, they don't want to see it, they want to get away from it. And if your eyes are wide open and you're Malcolm McDowell, Stanley Kubrick, Clockwork Orange, MK Ultra'd out, and they're brainwashing you by putting images in your brain and you don't want to see them, that's trauma. You're doing a trauma to yourself. But when you listen to a vaporwave, you're not traumatizing yourself unless you're listening to that weird Silent Hill vaporwave type of music that sounds like abandoned mall, like the mall is dead, whatever. You want the nice stuff though. But anyway, the other vaporwave puts you in a state which is like, it's okay. even if it's not okay. And I think that that's the future they want. It's just like, don't worry about managing anything. Just have a vaporwave, man. I don't know. You get it? I don't know what else to say. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because if you don't, and nobody else is going to even find out about this, and if you already did, you're probably going to have to do it again anyway, so do it again. It's free here. I don't even sell anything, and I am so severely shadow banned. And this is Scott Franklin Reed from the Shadowlands, Realm of the Shadow Ban. This was Extreme Narcissism TV, Mammal Out of Pop Culture, formerly Denebriation Nation. Thank you. Come again. It's free. Take whatever you want.